Hello everyone and welcome to TaiyangNews. This is Bhambhani and we are on the floors of our second edition of the Solar Technology Conference India, the 2026 edition. And I'm happy to have with me Premier Energy's Sudhir Reddy. Welcome to TaiyangNews. So can you please tell us how is the Indian manufacturing industry panning out right now?
I think this Indian solar industry is currently the sunrise industry in India, panning out beautifully with so much of capacity coming up in India, with a lot of companies foraying, new companies as well as the old ones, getting into this sector now and really trying to integrate and take advantage of the booming solar industry. And This is no better time to be in the solar sector than now.
I couldn't agree more. What is Premier Energy's plans right now? Like, you are already, a renowned player. You were also thinking of expanding to the US at one point. So, what's your current plans, and what are your, integration plans or future expansion roadmap?
Premier Energies, as you know, is one of the oldest solar module manufacturer in India. Started way back in '95, so we almost have 30 years of experience under our belt. And with that experience, it is the most apt thing for us to do is to actually vertically expand, grow, integrate, and expand. And From that, so today we are at 3.4 gigawatt of cell capacity and about 5.4 gigawatt of module capacity, and we are adding about another 5.6 gigawatt of module by this March and about 7 gigawatt of cell capacity by June, which will take us to about 10 gigawatt of module and 10 gigawatt of cell by the end of this year. And That's keeping in line with the ALMM2 guidelines that are coming in June 2026. That apart, we are also setting up a 10 gigawatt ingot wafer line, backward integrating much further. This is in keeping in line with the LMM3, which requires that the wafer also has to be made in India by June 2028.
So, right now, so many different manufacturers are also coming in. There is more expansion plans being announced. So, what would be your advice? Because you're one of the oldest. So, what would be your advice to them, to the new players who are coming in, how to navigate this market?
So for any new player coming into this, right, they need to think about what their capital structure is going to be there, what the debt cost is going to be, and how is the market going to pan out in the next 2 or 3 years. Because for anybody to set up a cell line, it is going to take at least 18 to 24 months, and they need to factor into their financial model what is the demand and the supply situation going to be 2 years from now. They need to make those due considerations and also look at how they can attain cost leadership, and also look at the technology per se. How can they be technology leaders tomorrow? How can they move up on the cell efficiency curves? They need to think through all these things before they start expanding into solar sector.
So today you also probably mentioned that Premier might be looking at also getting into expanding their manufacturing footprint geographically.
Right.
So which are the markets you're looking at, and what's the scene with your US expansion plans that were first announced?
So, we are looking to expand into multiple geographies. As I said before, we have a geographic diversification strategy in our plans for a long time now, and we are looking at African markets as well, and also the European markets and the US markets. With respect to the European market, as you are aware, and a lot of panelists have brought it up, right? There are various regulations that are being worked into in Europe, which is the NZ Act and also the Resilience Act. So once those kind of protections come into the European market today, then it will probably start making economic sense to start establishing manufacturing facilities in Europe, and that's when we want to move in. Coming to US, US per se was pretty good. We had our plans for US expansion as well. But currently, we are in a wait and watch mode to understand on the demand side how it's going to pan out, given the current administration's push towards more gas based, nuclear based energy mix. So we want to see if any of that policy towards the energy mix is going to change in the next 6 months, and that's when we will make a call.
Prudent move, I would say. So now, also there are a lot of rumors about overcapacity. In module, already we have like we are producing more, we have more capacity than we are installing. So where do you see the market, heading from here?
To a certain extent, every market which is growing, right, there's always going to be enthusiasm among the industry players to get in and take advantage of the growing market, right? And in that frenzy, yes, we start building over capacity, but sometimes that's good because that's when people start looking at cost and trying to drive down the cost, and in the overall, the end, the benefit goes to the end user, and this will in turn drive down the cost of electricity for the people of India. So that way it's good, but at the same time, having said that, we need to be careful that these companies don't go into the red, and that's why all expansions have to be prudent, thought through, to see if there is a proper demand for your product before mindlessly expanding or your capacities.
So India has always been a very protectionist kind of a market, and the progress has mostly been policy driven. But how much and for how long? And what is the industry thinking about now?
See, I think given a level playing field, right? If we had the same cost of capital, if we had the same input costs or kind of incentives from the government, like in China, I'm sure we can always compete with the Chinese as well. But if you are not going to give a level playing field, there is never we are going to compete. But that said, if you have seen in today's session, they have looked at the cost differential between the Chinese and the Indians in the real cost, right? Not the dumping costs or the subsidized cost. The cost differential today between China and India is not more than 20%. And this differential is only going to go down, but always there's going to be a slight difference, primarily due to the input costs, which is the power cost and the things like capital cost, right? Other than that, I don't see why we cannot compete with China. So if you see same Chinese player going out into the Southeast Asian countries, and they are making cells and selling at a price higher than India.
So now, what is the industry looking for more from the government?
I think from the government, for the industry, what they're looking forward to from the government is to continue on the demand side, their policies, right? I think government has done enough on the intervention on the manufacturing side, which is evident from the excess capacity coming on the manufacturing side module and then maybe on the cell side. The government intervention is now needed more on the demand side to continue the policies where they can drive up the demand for solar. This could be either through bringing in the required transmission capacities, which we see there could be a bottleneck in 2028 or 29. So if there is a right impetus on clearing out the transmission line bottlenecks, I think we are going to have a lot of demand coming in from the AI data centers. You have seen the recent announcement in the budget session, right? There is a tax holiday for data centers being set up for overseas use. And where do they get power for all these data centers, right? It has to come from solar, wind, battery storage, this mix, right? That's the fastest. And that is where this solar industry can take advantage of, provided government can enable that demand.
Creating that demand.
Yes.
Thank you so much for talking to us, and hope you are there tomorrow as well. We
I'm
can
there.
enjoy. Wonderful.
Thank you. See
Thank you
you.
so much.
Bye bye.